Hey there, I'm Melissa, time management coach, writer, Jesus lover, and creator of the Wealthy Mama Journal. Around here, we don't chase perfect, we chase peace. This is where faith meets focus and where I help busy moms like you manage your time without losing your mind. If you're tired of color-coded chaos and want to be rich in what matters most, spoiler, it's not laundry, then you're in the right place. Are you ready? Let's get into it. So this week, I've got some wins, some lessons that hit me upside the head, a couple of reality checks I did not ask for, and a faith test that showed me I still got some unlearning to do. So let's go. Progress. The small wins that matter. I was super pumped for my co-working session like I am every session, and I had everything ready to go. And guys, 2 people showed up. You heard me, 2. Now, old me, she would have been a little salty. She would have let the low turnout make her question why she's even doing this in the first place. But new me, the one choosing obedience over optics, smiled, welcomed them, and gave the same energy I would have if 200 people were sitting in front of me. Because at the end of the day, impact is not about who didn't show up. It's about who did. And you know what? That session was powerful. They showed up fully present and we got real work done. It reminded me that sometimes the most transformative moments happen in the smallest, most intimate spaces. Now, I could have let the numbers discourage me. Instead, I made a decision. If God calls me to show up, I'm showing up, whether it's 2 people or 2,000. Because faithfulness in the small things, that's what leads to the big things. Okay. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love WWE, and I don't know how I got this lucky, but my kids and my husband are also obsessed. Walking into an arena packed with diehard wrestling fans, to include my husband and my kids, was one of the highlights of my week. My kids, they were taking it all in. The energy, it was electric. From the moment we found our seats, it was like stepping into another world. One where grown adults scream at men in tights and somehow it's the best thing ever. I was here for the entertainment, but watching my kids live in the moment was what got me. They were completely immersed, not distracted, not worried about anything other than just this moment. I mean, completely present. And I thought, we need more of this. More planned experiences that take us out of the routine. More newness injected into our days, because life can become so monotonous if we're not intentional. The same school pickups, the same grocery runs, the same TV shows on repeat, but this was different. And different is exactly what we needed. I walked out of that arena thinking, we have to start adding more firsts to our calendar, more things that bring us joy, more things that make time slow down for just a second. Because those moments, they're what make the busy and the chaos worth it. 4 podcast episodes written, 3 recorded. Who even am I? I barely even recognize myself. A few months ago, getting 1 episode done felt like pulling teeth. I'd sit down, start writing, overthink every word, edit it to death, and still feel like it wasn't good enough. But this week, I found my flow. Here's what changed. I stopped chasing perfect. Instead of overanalyzing every sentence, I trusted that I had something valuable to say. 2, I let ChatGPT be my intern, not my boss, just an assistant helping me organize my thoughts and tighten my writing. 3, I used time to my advantage. I set a time limit for an activity and I said, this thing is getting done today. And it did. It hit me how much time I've wasted second guessing myself, how much energy I've spent trying to make things flawless before they even see the light of day. But here's the truth. Good enough is often more than enough. Now, I'm writing faster, recording smoother, and actually enjoying the process. And that's a breakthrough. Now, there are two types of conversations in life, the ones that drain you and the ones that fill you up so much, you wonder why you don't have them more often. This week, I had not one, but two of the latter. One conversation had me laughing so hard, my stomach was in knots, y'all. The kind of laugh where you're gasping for air, trying not to actually pee yourself. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. The other conversation, it was deep, honest, life-giving, the type where you feel seen in a way that social media scrolling will never give you. The kind that makes you sit back and think, wow, God really did his thing putting this person in my life. And I got off both calls thinking the same thing. Why am I not doing this more? We live in a world that makes it too easy to consume and too hard to connect. We scroll, we like, we watch, but do we actually talk? Do we actually pour into our friendships? Because let me tell you, scrolling has never once made me feel like this. But a 45-minute call with a friend who gets me, it was life-giving. So, this week's progress wasn't just about the things I did, it was about the joy I made room for. That is a shift worth holding on to. Lessons. 1. The consumer fast. Let me stand on a chair while I say this. I have not bought one single thing I didn't need since the start of the year. If you had told me a few months ago that I'd go weeks without a random Target run or an Amazon impulse buy, I would have laughed and asked you if you were feeling okay. But here we are. My cart is empty. My wallet is thanking me. And I know for a fact my husband is living his best life watching me walk past things I would have thrown in the cart just because. But on a funnier note, food is where I struggle. A quick sweet tea from McDonald's, a little Cinnabon just because I deserve a treat, guilty. And I know, it's not about deprivation, but this fast is showing me something. We justify our small indulgences so easily. I wouldn't dare walk into a store and throw $5 on the floor, but I'll happily spend it on a latte I didn't need. So I'm learning awareness. I'm paying attention to where my little comforts are coming from and asking myself, do I actually need this or is this just a bad habit? And speaking of awareness, someone called me and said, I almost sent your kids some boots after I saw your video of them in the snow in sneakers. Listen, we don't own snow boots. Texas doesn't get snow like that. So when it does, we just make do. But the way I cackled when she said that, because honestly, she's right, but also my kids will survive. I could have let that comment send me spiraling into mom guilt, but instead I laughed. It was funny, y'all, and we need a sense of humor right now. I'm so grateful because this fast is teaching me how to be okay with enough. 2, God is pulling us closer, one by one. This week, I started noticing something wild. My son asked about going to a group for Christian athletes at school. My daughter, she's super excited to go to Bible study and learn scripture. My husband, he actually put work to the side to go to a Christian leadership conference. And me, I'm knee-deep in Bible study. I don't go to one Bible study, y'all. I got 2 Bible study groups. Let me tell you, God is working on my family in ways I did not even realize. And none of this was forced. None of it was orchestrated by me. We're all just finding our way toward Him together, but separately. So what I learned this week is that God is moving. I don't have to micromanage every part of the process. 3, prayer works, and God speaks in crazy ways. Here's the thing. I've been struggling to communicate something for a while now with someone that I love, a problem that's been lingering, where no matter what words I use, it felt like nothing landed, and I was getting frustrated. So this week, I finally just prayed, God, I need wisdom. Give me the words or show me what to do. And y'all, you know what happened? I stumbled across a random Mel Robbins podcast episode. And in the middle of her conversation, bam, there it was, the exact words and perspective I needed, delivered through two people who had no idea I was out here struggling. That's how God moves, not always in dramatic, burning bush ways. Sometimes it's through a conversation, a book, a random podcast episode you weren't even looking for. And it made me wonder, how many times have I asked God for help and then ignored the ways He was trying to send it? This week reminded me, when you ask, stay open. Keep your eyes peeled because the answer might not come the way you expect. But it's coming. So yeah, big lessons this week. Contentment over consumption, trusting God's timing over my control, praying and actually paying attention to the response. And honestly, I needed every single one of these lessons. Okay, next up, the adversities. Let's talk about where I got tested. If I wasn't tracking my progress, this is the part that would have overshadowed everything. That's the thing about adversity. It's loud. It demands attention. And if you're not careful, it'll trick you into believing you haven't made any progress at all. 1, the sneaky pull of scrolling again. I caught myself on social media way more than I wanted to be. And here's the thing, it wasn't boredom. It wasn't even habit. It was avoidance. I started noticing a pattern. If there was something I didn't want to do, scroll. If there was something I didn't want to feel, scroll. It wasn't about entertainment. It was about numbing. The worst part, I knew I was doing it. I'd literally hear my own thoughts calling me out. Melissa, step away from the phone. We said we were going to do better. Then here I go, working against my own self. Okay, it's 9:53. You're going to get off at 10 o'clock. And that's how I knew I still needed a real plan to stop reaching for my phone when I'm running from something else. Because distraction isn't random. It's a symptom. So what am I avoiding? More to come. I am asking God to give me revelation in this area because I really need a lot of help with this. Number 2, when faith gets real. I thought my faith was solid, and then it got tested. Someone reached out for advice, someone in a real life, high stakes, between a rock and a hard place kind of situation. And when I heard the details, my heart immediately knew the answer I wanted to give. But there was one problem. The advice I wanted to give, it wasn't actually aligned with God's word. Lord, help me. I sat with that tension for a long time because how do you tell someone the right thing when it doesn't feel like the best thing? This was the first time in a while where I felt the full weight of what it means to trust God over my own understanding. Because in my human mind, I couldn't see a way forward that didn't feel impossible. But that's just it. God sees possibilities that I can't. So I had to check myself. Do I actually believe that God can make a way where there is no way? Do I actually trust Him enough to let go of my own logic? I can't say I passed this test, y'all. I hesitated, I questioned, I wrestled. But what I can say is I'm still learning. And next time, I really hope I can move with more trust and less fear. Number 3, my self-doubt at church. So we made it to church on Saturday night, which honestly was a win all by itself. But then after service, my husband had casually mentioned, oh, it would be so cool to meet the pastor. And my friend who works at the church was like, oh, we should do it right now. And y'all, the second she said that, I felt myself shrink. Immediately, my brain went into overdrive. We're not even members yet. We haven't been involved enough. What if he thinks we're just showing up and not really committed? I was so self-conscious that my first instinct was to avoid it completely. Let's just wait until we're more involved, until we belong more. Pretty much what I was saying was, let's just wait until it's the perfect time. And that right there, that's a problem. Because how many things in my life have I put off waiting for the perfect moment? When I feel more confident, when I know more people, when I feel like I deserve to be there. Let's be real. Perfection isn't coming. If I keep waiting for the right moment, I'll be waiting literally forever. So I learned that I need to unlearn this, because the truth is, I don't need to be ready to belong. I just need to show up. So yeah, I battled distractions. I struggled with trusting God's plan over my own. I let self-doubt hold me back from stepping fully into something good. But here's what I know. Awareness is step one, because now that I can see it, I can do something about it. So here's what I'm focused on next. This Sunday, I'm leading my next Clarity Collective session, and this one is a full coaching session around roadblocks. I'm excited and a little nervous because coaching isn't about giving people the answers. It's about helping them find their own. And that means stepping back, listening deeply, and guiding with intention. My goal for this session, number one, really, truly hold space for these women to process what's in their way. Number two, ask better questions, because the right question can unlock something powerful. And number three, trust myself and trust God. I don't need to prove anything. I just need to show up fully and let God do the rest. Taming the Facebook beast. Right now, my Facebook usage is hovering around an hour a day. This is a drastic improvement from before, but the goal is 30 minutes. And let me tell you, this is hard. It's so easy to justify just 5 more minutes. And then 5 turns into 10, and before I know it, I've maxed out my time for the day. My plan is to tighten up. When I feel the urge to scroll, I'm going to ask myself in the moment, what am I avoiding? Because that's the real problem. Time blocking like I mean it. Now that I have more free time, aka less social media time, I need to be intentional about where my time goes. Because here's what I've learned. If I don't give my time a job, distraction will hire it first. So this week, I'm bringing more structure to my days. Mornings for deep work, afternoons for admin and movement, evenings for connection and rest. And here's the key. I need to make it easy. I don't want to waste mental energy deciding what to do next, so I'll be making a simple plan, and if for some reason anything changes, I can move things around. If I wasn't tracking my progress, I might have convinced myself this week that I was just spinning my wheels, caught in the same cycles. But looking back on this week, I see the small shifts, the moments of courage, the choices that felt insignificant in the moment, but are stacking up to create real change. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I am moving. I am growing, and that's the key. Small progress is still progress. Every moment you choose better, even if it's just for a second, matters. Self-awareness is a gift, not a weapon. Noticing where you struggle doesn't mean beating yourself up for it. It means celebrating that you see it so you can do something about it. God's not asking for perfection, just faithfulness. Every step I take, even the shaky ones, is building something bigger than I can see in the moment. So, here's to 1% better every day. Here's to trusting the process, even when it feels slow. And here's to letting obedience, not perfection, be the goal. Thanks for hanging out with me on the Wealthy Mama podcast. My hope is that something today gave you that little nudge towards peace, focus, or maybe just a good laugh at my expense. Because let's be real, life's messy, and that's where God does his best work. If you want more of this blend of faith, focus, and figuring it out as we go, head to my Substack. It's where I continue to share the real, raw, and slightly sarcastic thoughts I don't always say out loud. Until next time, keep chasing peace, practicing grace, and showing up for the life God's calling you to. Now go be wealthy, Mama.